My name is Gloria Logan, Gloria Logan.
And I'm Dennis Logan, Dennis Logan.
For a little background, could you tell me briefly about yourselves and how long you've lived or been involved in the Hillcrest community? And you can include any involvement you may have had in the Hillcrest Community Civic Association.
We have been married for 54 years. We moved to Austin Street Southeast in the Hillcrest neighborhood, July 1965. We attend St. Francis Xavier Church at 28th and Pennsylvania Avenue Southeast. I spent 30 years in the DC Fire Department and retired in 1980 as a deputy fire chief. I also served 15 years as treasurer of the Hillcrest Community Civic Association. I chaired Neighborhood Watch for 20 years. I am also chair of ushers at St. Francis Xavier Church at 28th and Pennsylvania Avenue Southeast.
I, Gloria Logan, served 30 years in DC Public Schools, retired in 1989. We have 3 sons, Dennis, Derek, and David. All 3 sons attended Ann Beers Elementary School at Alabama Avenue and 36th Place. The school was highly rated in the mid-60s, and we were very satisfied with it. I served 15 years as membership chair of HCCA and brought the membership from 34 members to 544 members. I am now assigned as the historian for the Civic Association.
So as you may know, this oral history project is a continuation of the 20th anniversary celebration of the HCCA. In thinking about your neighborhood, Hillcrest, will you define it as a strong DC neighborhood? Tell me why, and also explain what is your definition or idea of a strong DC neighborhood.
Hillcrest is definitely a strong DC neighborhood. The historian will give you further information.
Well, we got involved around August 8th, 1989 on the lawn of our house as we celebrated National Night Out Against Crime. Now, this was an annual event sponsored by the Neighborhood Watch program. On Austin Street, about 57 neighbors and friends gathered on our lawn to talk about ways that we could improve our neighborhood. Velvety Simmons, the neighbor at 3604 Austin Street, spoke up and said, "What we need is a civic association." Now, let me remind you that there was a citizens association here in Hillcrest, but we were not invited to join in, and what's more, it was on the decline. If you recall, at this time of year, it was the white flight taking place. Now, getting back to Belva's idea about a civic association, the neighbors thought it was a great idea, and it was Pastor Singer who spoke up and said, "You may use the Lutheran Church of the Holy Comforter for your meetings." And so we did. It was on September the 30th, 1989, when 34 Hillcrest neighbors met, and then we accepted assignments such as naming the organization, securing the accurate boundaries for the organization, connecting with the Federation of Civic Associations, and drawing up bylaws. Velvety Simmons was elected the first president of the Hillcrest Civic Association, and she was succeeded by Paul Savage, Pastor Franklin Singer, Vincent Spaulding, and our current president, Karen Lee Williams. So that's a little background about Hillcrest, going back, being a strong DC neighborhood.
So what is your opinion of the Hillcrest Community Civic Association and its role in creating a strong DC neighborhood? How do you think it has engaged the residents of the community to encourage active involvement as well as participation And to what extent do you think the HCCA has sufficiently engaged the residents in other parts of the city? And I want you to think about our internal as well as external interactions and think long term, in the past 20 years.
Hillcrest has definitely engaged the neighborhood through the Neighborhood Watch program. We began our Neighborhood Watch program in the mid-'80s with 12 block captains reaching out to each other block by block. By the end of 2004, we had 175 block captains and zone leaders that represented all the neighborhoods throughout the ANC 7B area, which included Hillcrest, Naylor Gardens, Fairfax Village, Fort Davis, Penn Branch, Randall Highlands, DuPont Park, and Park Naylor. In short, Neighborhood Watch has had a profound impact on Ward 7 in general and the Hillcrest community in particular.
So how effectively do you think has the HCCA worked with the Hillcrest community, and by extension the rest of Ward 7, to garner goodwill? You mentioned the Neighborhood Watch, to promote neighborliness and maintain the wholesome community in which we now live. And how effective has the various forms of communication and outreach proponents been effective, or is there room for improvement?
I'd like to speak of the past 20 years and some of the things that we have accomplished within Hillcrest and surrounding areas. We established and maintained one of the best neighborhood watch programs in the city, working in close contact with the 6th District Police. And at that time, it was great community policing. We drafted Anthony Williams to run for mayor after hearing him speak at one of our monthly meetings. We were instrumental in getting a new recreation center built, and it is a great facility. In fact, we had our 20th anniversary at the Hillcrest Rec Center, and we hold our monthly meetings there the first Saturday of each month. We continue to have the annual Hillcrest Garden Tour to showcase the beautiful homes and gardens in Hillcrest, and people from Capitol Hill, Georgetown, throughout DC are anxious to come to Hillcrest to see our beauty as we often go to see theirs. We have an outstanding website. It is www.hillcrestdc.com, managed by Kathy Chamberlain, our webmaster. Hillcrest reaches out to Anbeer School, Randall Highlands, and Winston, and we make contributions for the needs of each through our fundraising. We've done a lot in our neighborhood, installing traffic calming devices such as speed bumps, left turn signals, do not enter signs, various traffic improvements along Branch Avenue, which is one of our most beautiful gateways into the Hillcrest neighborhood. And we're now working with DDOT to improve Pennsylvania Avenue, which is one of the great streets of DC.
So to what degree do you see HCCA and the Hillcrest neighborhood as extensions of each other? In other words, how effective would have been one without the other in creating a strong DC neighborhood? Do you view them, Hillcrest and the HCCA, as separate entities, or are they one and the same to you? And when one does well, does it naturally bring along the next? Or does success occur individually? And why do you see it this way?
We see Hillcrest Community Civic Association and Hillcrest as neighborhood as separate entities, but both are committed to working together and communicating for the betterment of the community.
This neighborhood has been known, as you know, for its civic-mindedness, neighborliness, caring, and respect of the beauty of the environment. Is this something you agree with? And if so, why? And are there any other adjectives you use to describe Hillcrest or the HCCA?
The Hillcrest neighborhood has been and is still known for its civic mindedness, its good neighbors, their willingness to volunteer, working on the gardens and working on the garden tours throughout the neighborhood. And this year marked the 17th year of our garden tour, still going strong.
And could you offer any other specific examples that would underscore the civic mindedness and neighborliness of the Hillcrest residents? And you can feel free to be as descriptive as you would like to be.
We have the annual National Night Out Against Crime celebration in August of each year. We have block parties in the neighborhood. We join with Palisades Civic Association in Northwest and participate in Neighbors in Art. We also join Palisades in their annual 4th of July parade.
Well, since the first time you moved here to this community since the 1960s, do you see a continuation of the civic mindedness and neighborliness that you had seen then? Or has it changed over time? Or is it better? Is it worse? Do you have an opinion about the HCCA and its helping with this continuation?
Yes, but it has been challenging due to the fact that the leaders are getting older, they're aging. Our block captains, who used to go door to door, climbing the steps and delivering flyers, they are aging too. I can remember 45 years ago, we were energetic. Our children were young. Our neighbors had children, and they were young. And we all engaged in neighborly activities and picnics and that sort of thing. And meetings, we didn't mind. We attended meetings on top of meetings. But now, we are looking to the younger generation to pick up the baton and move ahead, just like Michelle Phipps Evans is doing, moving ahead and helping us along. And it was at our 20th anniversary, we could see that in action. The younger people did step forward, and they did do a fantastic job.
So based on the length of time that you've been in Hillcrest and based on your observations and your interactions, what do you see as the 3 core elements that make for a strong neighborhood in the District of Columbia? And I have examples that may include respect for a resident that they may have for keeping their yard clean, just being able to say hello. What are the 3 core elements that you see?
What makes for a strong neighborhood? I would say the spirit of outreach, knowing your neighbors, interacting with your neighbors, and interacting with the police to have a safer community.
Is there anything else you can think of that highlights Hillcrest as a strong DC neighborhood? And anything that shows the HCCA as helping to facilitate that strength? Just feel free to let me know.
I'd like to end on saying that I have served as the historian and the archivist of Hillcrest Civic Association for the past 5 years. And as a result of this, I have collected lots and lots of materials. I have 1928 newsletter, Hillcrest Bulletin, of the Hillcrest Citizens Association, which I was mentioning early in some of my statements, that we did have a Citizens Association, not a civic association. We were not invited to be a part of this, but this is documented. I also have all the newsletters that Hillcrest have in this bundle, and it goes from the very first one, which was a one-pager in the year 1992. 1992. Just one page, more or less just a meeting notice was all we did. Not much news in there at all. Then we progressed to a 2-pager the following year, April 93. I did that for 4 years and had a little something to say, page 1, and then on the back, that made page 2. We did that for a while. But now we have a 4-page newsletter, beautifully done by who? None other than Michelle Fitz Evans. And it is simply beautiful. We can read it on the web, we can see it in color, and we also have it mailed to us, those who wish to have it mailed without a computer maybe. I have the very first sign-in sheet. Remember I said that 54 people, 57, gathered on our front lawn. That was August the 8th, 1989. And here is that sign-in sheet. Still have it. And to me, it means a lot. How we all got started. I've also got the first Neighborhood Watch booklet. This was done by Dennis. He describes the purpose of Neighborhood Watch, how it is organized, telling people how to join. And in the book, it also lists all the block captains. Every street in Hillcrest is listed. And every block had a block captain. And it tells, too, just how many houses are in the block. It also gives a map. And the map identifies the zones. And you can find exactly where you live and what zone you're in. And then back here, gives that zone, gives the zone leader and all the people who are block captains within that zone. So this goes way back, and I'm holding on to all of that. We also have an anniversary of Hillcrest Civic Association every 5 years, and I have the souvenir booklet from the 5th, the 10th, the 15th, and the 20th. Have all the souvenir booklets here somewhere. And not only do I just have the booklets, the souvenir booklets, but I also have the guest list and seating arrangements for each of those anniversaries. And I can't forget my scrapbook. Here is my scrapbook, and it says Hillcrest Community Civic Association History and Events from 1990. It says to 99, but it's still ongoing, even though the book is full. It's still ongoing. And if you recall at the anniversary, it was Marvin Bowser that he compiled a pictorial history of Hillcrest. And it was from this scrapbook that he found photos, news articles, and other things to display on the web. Everyone needs to know about that website. And once again, that web address is www.hillcrestdc.com. Done beautifully by Kathy Chamber.
I would say they picked the right person as the archivist.
I've got a study back there with a file cabinet in it and lots of 2 drawers are dedicated to Hillcrest. Okay, but it's fun. It's fun. Dennis and I have had fun doing it, and we like to share it. So any of that stuff that you might want or might want to see sometime, you're welcome to drop by and see it. Okay, Michelle.